Shalom, shalom. Really interesting parsha this week, VaYechi, with a perplexing question. I mean, there's many questions. One I'm going to focus on today, and that is Yaakov at the end of his life, and he calls in his children for a blessing. And as the story goes, Josef comes with his sons Ephraim and Manasseh, and Manasseh is the oldest, and Ephraim's younger. And when Yaakov is going to bless them, he puts the right hand on the younger and the left hand on the older. And it really upsets Yosef because it's supposed to be the other way around, that the right hand should go on the older son. And he thinks his father's confused because he can't see. And he says, this is, Dad, you're doing this wrong. And Yaakov's like, no, I'm not. I know exactly what I'm doing. And he blesses them. And he says, they'll both be great. But Ephraim gets this blessing and he's going to be even greater. And the question that just boggled my mind is, why would he do this? Why would he do this, especially at the end of his life? He had issues with his brother Esau his whole entire life because of the blessing that he was the younger and took from the older. And then he sees difficulties that Yosef encountered by giving Yosef, who was the younger, he was the 11th out of the 12 and got preferential treatment, and it really made the other brothers jealous. And that didn't go over too well. So why? Especially people on their deathbed would probably want to do something better and different. And now he's going to do this with the next generation to come, making Ephraim, giving him the bigger, better blessing over Menashe. Why would he do that? And it always bothered me, and I have an idea that makes sense to me, and I'd like to share it with you. Just my idea. So I think it's this. We see and we know that until this day, and Yaakov said, until forever, Israel will bless their sons to be like Ephraim and Manasseh. Now, why do we bless them to be like Ephraim and Manasseh? We're not really two tribes, but just ascribe that status through Yaakov. Why do we choose them out of all of the tribes to bless our children to be like them? And the famous answer goes because they had a brotherly bond, a brotherly connection, a brotherly love that transcended everything. They wanted what was best for each other. There was no jealousy, there was no difficulties that came out of this scenario. That Menashe was just happy for his younger son, and they both just wanted the best for the other, and that this is the way that brothers should really be. Now, in our religion, we have commandments. We have this, that the oldest, the Bechor, gets Pishnayim, gets a double portion, because a lot of times the rules in the Torah go according to how people and human nature is. And human nature is always that I think the older one always feels, you see this in families, like they get the short end of the stick, meaning they get, they're sort of like the guinea pig child, and everything, all the mistakes are made on them and all the difficulties made on them. And then the children that come later and later get more, have more patience, have more love, a lot of times have more things. And it's kind of just to make that up, I think, for the older one who feels like they've gone through so much, endured so much difficulties and whatever, and kind of like, you know, a gift, or they earned it, or something to, bring them up for what they've been through in families. But I think what Yaakov saw here is when it came down to Egypt, and we're told how Joseph was so close with his children and his grandchildren, and he fostered this brotherly love, and familial love, the way he took care of his brothers when they came down, and the way that it was so important to him because he didn't get along with his brothers. And he was so sure to instill this, not just by teaching him the lessons, but by being an example, being an example of love and care for his own brothers when they came down. And his children saw this, and also we're told that he bounced his grandchildren on his knee. He made sure, even though he had a high position, to be close with his family members. So important to him. And these values were instilled in his children and were done so very, very well, that they were happy for each other. They do love each other. And the ideal state would be for an older brother to have that kind of desire to take care of the younger one and love them and be happy if they got more. And if they didn't get more, would probably even want to give them from what they have more. And that's the ideal situation, is that the brothers should love each other and want what's best for each other and never be jealous if one has more. They should be happy. You should be happy and want that for the other. If everybody did that and wanted that for the other, this world would be an amazing place. And that's what Yaakov saw. And Yaakov did this. He gave these blessings. And I think he wanted all the other tribes to see that when he did this, that they was no strife, no love, no, I mean, only love, no jealousy, no hatred. And that was very visible. And right after he did that, it says, he said to all the other sons, now come close and now I'll tell you what will happen in the end of days. Because he was saying that if we have this brother, he thought this was a tikkun, this was a rectification for everything that they've gone through before, and that now there's this great, in this generation, how the brothers came together. And yeah, I think he was very hopeful, thinking this was maybe the new way, and that would be what would come after. It didn't stick for whatever reason, and there were problems and were strife. But he thought, oh wow, this we've overcome this. We have the brother love, the brother bond. They see each other as one, this unification. And he's like, now, it's messianic times. This is it. Now we're ready for it. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But the lesson here is that we need to have that love and care for one another. Like Ephraim and Asher, we should always be that way. We should always want what's best for the other. We should always understand that we're connected, we're one, we're attached, and that looking after one another will bring what's best. Will bring what's best and a society that thrives and is, the best that we've ever had to come. So if we can take that to heart and we can be that way, we will achieve much blessing. Let's try and work towards that. And with that, I wish you a Shabbat Shalom to all.